Next up, debugging tools. This is something that we launched a month and a half ago, and we want to make sure that everyone is checking this out and understands what this is. RTB Breakout is a troubleshooting tool for open auction and for deals to understand when you are not transacting, why, and to get to the root cause. There are a number of reasons why you may not be transacting on ADDX. It could be your pre-targeting settings. It could be that your creative has not been approved, or it's being filtered on a particular deal or a particular publisher site. And what we've done with RTB Breakout is design a funnel that essentially visualizes how an impression moves through ADDX to help you identify the different points where you are getting filtered. At the very top of RTB Breakout, so if you log into your ADDX buyer account, on that top nav, the leftmost tab is called bidding. If you click on bidding, the first sub-nav option is called RTB Breakout, and this is what we're talking about. The top of RTB Breakout gives you some high-level stats. So the number of impressions you've won and your win rate, as well as the number of bids you submitted, which have been filtered, and your filtered bid rate. Filtered bid rate is a measure of how often you are being filtered out before the auction runs, and it's a good indicator of potential issues you may be having with creative approval or being blocked on a particular publisher site. And so it's usually a good place to start when debugging. Also, in the upper right, there's a date picker, and currently we have 4 different options. You could look at your RTB Breakout for today, you can look at it for yesterday, you can look at it for the past 7 days, and you can look at it for the past 30 days. Also, under the overview stats, you'll see there's a filter, and that filter allows you to do a number of interesting things. As we go farther into the deck, you'll see the different sections of RTB Breakout, but essentially the entire funnel, all of these subsequent sections, can be filtered by a specific creative ID, by a specific publisher ID, by a specific deal, if you want to check on the health of a particular deal, or by an account ID if you have multiple accounts. So for instance, if you are a bidder and you have multiple child seats, you'll be able to see RTB Breakout for each of those child seats. And you can use that to identify issues that may be affecting one or another of your child seats. So this top section, what we're looking at now is, so we haven't started at the top of RTB Breakout, but this is basically the most valuable for many folks section of RTB Breakout is the filtered bid section. So among the bids that you or your designated third-party bidder respond with, filtered bids, this section, allows you to see a bunch of different reasons why those bids may have been filtered out of the auction. So here we see for this particular instance, we received, over whatever period of time this is, for whatever account it is, we received 158 million bids, and of those, 72% were filtered out and never participated in the auction. The other 28%, that 44 million, actually flowed into the auction. Now, among those 72%, what is this, 114 million bids that didn't participate in the auction, you can actually see the various different reasons. So for this particular bidder, you can see that almost half of those was because the bid was below the min CPM. The next most frequent reason was that the attribute was excluded, and there are a bunch of different reasons. And if you click on one of these, so for instance, if you click on bid was below the minimum threshold, on the next slide, you'll basically be able to see is individual creative IDs which were filtered out for this particular reason and the number of times that they were filtered. So if you had 64 million bids that were filtered out because the bid was below the minimum threshold, you can actually see which individual creatives attributed to that, and you can use that to track down what may have gone wrong. And then finally, next slide, among those that participated in the auction, you can see how many were impressions that you actually won versus where you were outbid. There are 2 different versions of RTB Breakout. There's one for bidders, and there's one for buyers who aren't bidders. And the key difference is that bidders basically get to see some additional data about bids, essentially pre-targeting settings that are controlled by that bidder. So if you haven't gotten a chance, make sure you log in and play around with RTB Breakout. It is, we've gotten a lot of feedback that it's a valuable debugging tool. But definitely let us know, let your account team know if you have more feedback or feature requests, things that it doesn't do that you'd like to see it do. We're always interested in more feedback.
For more training videos and resources, please visit the AdExchange Buyer Academy on our Help Center via the case-sensitive link displayed here. Thanks for watching.